Welcome back, everybody, to Zlatan's Fight Picks. Thank you for joining me again today. Today we will go over the UFC Fight Night, Hermansson versus Pyfer. We will do the card from the start, the prelims, the first fight, to the main event. I took a little bit of a poll. People who responded said they liked the format where we start with the first fight and work our way to the main event. So we'll keep it that way. So let's start. So, you know what, I'm not sure if this one is the first fight, but it's close to the first fight. I'll start with this one. It's on my last page. Daniel Marcos versus Aroquilan. Daniel Marcos, 5'7", 69-inch reach, 15 wins, 0 losses, 30 years old. Aroquilan, 5'7", 69-inch reach, 25 wins, 10 losses, 30 years old. You know what? I like what I see from Daniel Marcos. I think he's pretty slick. He's smooth. He's got good striking. He can move in and out. He's hard to hit. He's got decent volume. He's good on the ground. He could be good on the ground. I think he likes to keep it on the feet. He's got good takedown defense. I don't think this is going to the ground, but if it is going to the ground, it's going to be Daniel Marcos is going to initiate it. Eric Quilang, I remember the last fight he had against what's the guy from Canada and Montreal? He got KO'd. He's a really strong, good striker. He's not the fastest striker, but he's very durable. He'll stand in the center. He'll stand in front of you, and he'll just basically exchange with you. So he's a great striker, though, and he could take a lot of punishment, and he's got very powerful strikes. I think this is a bad matchup for him because Marcos is moving around. He's not going to stay in one spot. He's going to be the quicker fighter. He could take this to the ground. Eric Quilang has shown that he has got a ground efficiency once he gets taken to the ground. He's got a good ground game. He's got good defense to be taken to the ground, but if you're a good grappler and you're on top of him, you can control him and keep him there for a while. Fairly straightforward. I mean, Marcos is a pretty heavy favorite. He is undefeated. Eric Quilang is a strong striker, but I just don't think he's going to win. I don't think it's going to be a knockout. I think it's going to go down to a decision. And I think Eric Quilang is going to lose this fight. Marcos is durable. I think he can take any big shot that he does sneak in there. So yeah, Marcos is going to be the pick. High degree of confidence. I'm scared to say that because anyways, if you watch the show, it seems like the highest degree of confidence, sometimes it's like jinxing it. I should do a reverse psychology. I should just say anything I have a high degree of confidence, I should just say I have no confidence at all. And they're definitely going to win after that, right? Reverse psychology. Moving on. This one I think is actually going to be the first fight, I think. The Fernie Garcia versus Haider Emil. Fernie Garcia, 5'7", 67-inch reach, 10 wins, 4 losses, 31 years old. Haider Emil, 5'9", 70-inch reach, 8 wins, 0 losses, 33 years old. Haider Emil has had a couple of opponents change. At least one, anyways. He's going to be the bigger guy in here. Fernie Garcia is a bantamweight, so he's moving up to featherweight to fight Emil. Emil's going to be the bigger guy. He's going to have the longer reach. He's roughly about the same age. Both of them are really tough, really durable, good strikers. I think Emil's going to, I don't want to say he's more durable, but he's going to be the faster guy. And if anything is going to happen as far as the ground, Emil's going to be the one to initiate it. Garcia has shown that he's got good takedown defense, but once he gets taken to the ground, he can get controlled and just basically stays on his back and will lose the round. I think that's going to be the case here. Emil does have a clear path to victory. He could take Garcia to the ground. Otherwise, he could stand there and strike. But Garcia does have a lot of power. He doesn't have a lot of volume, but he does have a lot of power. He's durable, so it's more high risk. But even if that happens, Emil has shown that he could take a lot of punishment and dish it out. He's got a lot of power as well. It's his debut in the UFC. You always got to worry about that. As I've learned the hard way, the debut guy, even though if he's the better guy, he comes in and, excuse me, whether it's an adrenaline dump or just the pressure, you know, yeah. I'm going to go with Emil. Fernie Garcia, I think, is going to be undersized. I think Emil's going to have some advantages. He is a decent-sized favorite for a reason, and he's undefeated. Yeah, let's move on. Excuse me. Moving on. Zach Pauga versus Bogdan Guskov. Zach Pauga, 6'2", 76-inch reach, 6 wins, 2 losses, 35 years old. Bogdan Guskov, 6'3", 76-inch reach, 14 wins, 3 losses, 31 years old. You know, never been really a fan of Zach Pauga. Ever since I bet on him that one time against what's the heavy? It was fighting in the heavyweight. Yeah, he was fighting in heavyweight. Usman, anyways, Usman's brother, one of the Usmans, anyways, and he got KO'd. Very disappointed in that. He's got decent striking. You know, I watched him in the last fight against Bukauskas, and I thought he did pretty good on the ground, on the feet. He had a hard time taking Bukauskas down. He did, I think he took him down once, but overall in the striking, he couldn't take him down. But I don't know, he did pretty good as far as stand-up with Bukauskas. And I think Bukauskas is a pretty well-rounded guy. It was a close fight. I think he lost a really close decision. Yeah, I think it was a split decision or something like that. So I don't really have a high regard for Zach Pauga, but he manages to make fights close. He's well-rounded, doesn't have a huge amount of experience. He's very, athletic. He's 35 years old. He's at the peak of his career. This is kind of where he is. And Bogdan Guskov, he got thrown in against Izdemir. What's his name? No time. I think it's Izdemir. I might be saying his name wrong. Or Odemir or something. The guy from Switzerland, anyways. And he ended up getting, was it KO'd or submitted? I think he got KO'd. No, he got knocked down, then he got submitted. So it was a club and sub. You look at his regional fights at a much lower level, and the guy looks like an absolute killer. But I don't know, like it just when he fought Uzdemir, I mean, and he is actually a really decent fighter, and he's even fought for the belt. So not to take anything away from him losing to him, I'm questioning how good Guskov is. I'm wondering if they just didn't bring him in at the last minute to fight Izdemir or Demir. I can't remember his name. Anyways, No Time. We'll call him No Time by his nickname or his handle. So he came in and he could throw heavy, but he just didn't have a lot of answers once he got on the ground. I mean, he's got pretty good takedown defense. I don't know. He did get up one time though. So he can get up off the ground. I don't know if Pauga can really take him down. He had a hard time taking Bukauskas down, but I think Bukauskas is a better fighter than Guskov. I think he's more well-rounded. It was a kind of a close pick. I was kind of going back and forth, but I just haven't seen enough from Guskov to really trust him. And even though I don't like Pauga, I've seen more of him. And I have a feeling he might be able to squeeze out a decision here. I don't think Guskov's gonna knock out Pauga. He's fairly durable. I'm gonna go with Pauga on this one. I think he's just gonna win a dirty, greasy, clinch the guy up against the fence kind of fight. And the judges don't always like that, but you never know, right? But I'm gonna go with the guy I've seen more of, even though I've seen him get rocked. Besides the Usman fight, I haven't seen him get knocked out. So I'm going to go with Pauga. I've got questions about Guskov. I don't know if he's what he's supposed to be. So, yeah, Pauga's going to be the pick. Moving on. Max Griffin versus Jeremiah Wells. Max Griffin, 5'11", 76-inch reach, 19 wins, 10 losses, 0 draws, 38 years old. Jeremiah Wells, 5'9", 74-inch reach, 12 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, 37 years old. They're almost about the same age. Jeremiah Wells has probably got little less wear and tear. He's probably less on the decline. I think Griffin has slowed down just a little bit. I don't think he's washed up or anything. Jeremiah Wells is going to have an advantage with the wrestling, of course. But, you got Max Griffin. He's got good takedown defense. He's got a good get-up game. He's got good jiu-jitsu. If you look at the last fight, Jeremiah Wells, he ended up getting submitted. He made a mistake and he got choked out. Even it was a fight that he was winning. He's got excellent takedowns. He usually gets on top. You can get up, but it takes a while. But I think this is the best guy Jeremiah Wells has ever fought. Griffin has fought, the top guys in the division. A lot of guys are going well with Wells. He is the favorite. He's 37 years old. He hasn't shown that he's been showing his age, but you never know. That can just happen. But in this case, it's going to be 2 inches shorter, 2 inches reach advantage. Griffin's got great footwork. He can go on the outside. Jeremiah Wells got a lot of power, but it's kind of, rushing in, throwing overhands and hooks. I think Griffin is a very good counter striker. I think he's a very smart striker. And I think he's got pretty good takedown defense. And I guess that's going to be the battle is, can Jeremiah Wells take him down? And if he did, can Griffin get up really quick? Jeremiah Wells has shown that he doesn't take the best shot. And the last time he got dropped twice, not the last fight, I think the fight before, by, what's his name, Semmelsberger. I had bet Wells in that fight and I was scared, but Semmelsberger, in Semmelsberger fashion, makes mistakes and eventually he lost the rounds that he actually should have won by Wells, kind of just letting Wells take him down, or Wells almost being knocked out and falling into a takedown. It was ridiculous. But anyways, I had a bet on Wells, so I'm glad it worked out for me. But looking at it, I think Griffin is he's got knockdown power, but not knockout power. I think he's probably kind of similar to Semmelsberger. Got knockdown power, not knockout power. I think he's dangerous. I think he's got really good striking IQ and IQ in general. A lot of people are going with Wells. I'm going to go with Max. I'm going to go with the experience. I think he's the best fighter that Wells has fought. I bet on Max last time when he fought Morales. I went with the underdog and he won one of the rounds, and Morales, just being the big brute that he is, and he's very powerful, absorbing all the shots, dishing out powerful shots. Max Griffin having a hard time taking him down. And yeah, because he's got a takedown game too. But he lost at 29-28. Yeah, I'm going to go with Griffin again, even though last time he was close, but he didn't make it. But the guy he fought is a future contender. Yeah, Max Griffin, I'm going to pick him. He's the underdog. I picked a lot of underdogs for this card. I don't know why. But that's just the way it worked out. Max Griffin's going to be the pick over Jeremiah Wells. Moving on, Devin Clark versus Marcin Prachniow. Devin Clark, 6 feet tall, 75-inch reach, 14 wins, 8 losses, 33 years old. Marcin Prachniow, 6'3", 74-inch reach, 16 wins, 7 losses, 35 years old. Both of them big guys, tall guys. The reach is about the same. You got Devin Clark, who's a little shorter, a couple years younger. Very, very close. I mean, they're built different though. Prachniow is kind of, 3 inches taller, but a little lankier. Devin Clark, very stout and very powerful. Devin Clark's, everyone always talks about his wrestling and his takedowns and his control. And in this case, Marcin Prachniow, who can be taken down and can be controlled on the ground. I mean, that's kind of right in his wheelhouse. So I think Devin Clark should win it. But Devin Clark's also got these massive power. He's got big punches that he can throw. He's got a low center of gravity, and he gets a lot of power behind his punches. And I'm surprised he hasn't gotten more knockouts than he has. Yeah, this fight, I can't see Prachniow winning it anywhere. Although he is elusive on the feet, he's got a decent jab. He goes in and out. He's not a real knockout guy, so he can't really hurt you, but he can outpoint you. I think Clark's going to be able to close the distance and take Prachniow down and win this fight fairly easily. There is a chance that Devin Clark can knock him out too, because he does have a lot of power. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten more knockouts. Pacquiao's a little tricky. He is quick. He can go on the outside, but I think Devin Clark's got more than enough experience and the ability to take this guy down or close the distance, get him along the fence and take him down. I mean, he's just so powerful. Once he gets you up against the fence, it's very highly likely that he's taking you down. In this case, he should take him down fairly easily. Devin Clark's going to be the pick. Moving on. Lona Lukbumi versus Bruna Brazil. Lona Lukbumi, 5'1", 61.5-inch reach, 8 wins, 3 losses, 28 years old. Bruna Brazil, 5'6", 65.5-inch reach, 9 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, 30 years old. But I'd been on Bruna when she first came to the UFC, and then she got just beaten up. I want to say she got manhandled, but it was a woman that was doing it. So she got just beaten up, like it was not even close, just the strength difference. She seemed very frail and very weak, and just her punches were very weak. She's a good technical striker from the outside. She likes to keep it clean. Now, if you leave her from the outside to do her little fancy kicks and her jabs, because she's a lot taller than most of the people in this division, I mean, she's going to be able to outpoint you. And on the ground, she looks like she's fairly dangerous. But so far, if you're strong enough and you're powerful enough, she has a hard time really submitting you or taking you down. You can take her down, and you can actually control her from the top, as long as you've got some BJJ and some strength. Now, I think Lona Lukbumi beats her on the feet. She's going to be more powerful. She's going to be faster. She's much shorter. But you know what? She's shorter against everybody. So this is not something new for her. I think she's also been working on her ground game. Last time she fought that one girl, I remember her getting in almost a leg lock position, and she didn't know what to do. And it really worried me that she could actually have lost that fight. And it was the same girl who knocked up Bruna Brazil. I can't remember her name right off the top of my head. But she is working on it. She looked like she's improved big time on the ground. She was taking the other girl to the ground. She was controlling her on top. But there was this one position with a leg lock. She kind of just froze and just didn't do anything. And she was lucky she didn't get submitted. But yeah, so I would be more worried about Bruna Brazil's ground game, because she is a little tall. Well, she's tall, she's lanky, she's tricky on the ground. I mean, that's the one place I'd be more worried about rather than the stand-up. But Lona Lukbumi has been taking girls to the ground. And I mean, it might not be a mistake. I think she's going to be the stronger girl in those positions, but she's got to be careful, because she's going to be so much shorter. The girl's going to be so much longer. You know, some things can happen, and I hope she's improved certain things, especially the leg locks and stuff like that, because the last fight she got out of it, but it didn't look good. She didn't look like she knew what she was doing. She stayed there for a while just in one spot and didn't know what to do. So yeah, so Lona Lukbumi is going to be the pick. A decent degree of confidence, but I don't think Bruna Brazil is that good. I'm more worried about a submission, some kind of sneaky submission, than any kind of KO or outstriking Lona Lukbumi. Even though she is a shorter fighter, I think she'll have to close the distance. I don't know if she's going to be able to finish her, but it'll be a grinding fight, and I think Lona Lukbumi should win this, and Bruna Brazil, just highly overrated. Moving on. Timothy Kuwamba versus Bolaji Oki. Timothy, this is Bolaji Oki had one for sure. He had one, Damir Hazdovich was his original fight, and then he pulled out. So he's fighting Timothy Kuwamba. Timothy Kuwamba, 5'9", 71-inch reach, 7 wins, 1 loss, 24 years old. Bolaji Oki, 5'10", 73-inch reach, 8 wins, 1 loss, 28 years old. I mean, Kuwamba's going to be the younger fighter. He's going to have about the same amount of experience, 1 inch shorter, 2 inches in reach. So for Oki will have the advantage. I watched Oki's fight in the Contender Series, and he looked really powerful and really devastating. I watched other fights, and I don't know, there's something about him that I never really, it doesn't really look that good. Like, I'm not saying he's not good, but just I haven't seen, I don't know, he can kind of take people to the ground. He's not really that good. He can take people to the ground who's not really that good on the ground. He seemed to have decent strikes. He does take a lot of shots. I don't think he's fought a real high level of opponent. And I think that when he beat the guy in Contender Series, which is a high level striker, I think everyone was kind of surprised. He was winning the fight, then the other guy was coming on, and then all of a sudden he got hit with a body shot and another body shot. I mean, Oki hit him with a couple of big body shots, and that ended the fight. I think if it maybe perpetuated on, Oki, I mean, it didn't look like Oki was getting better as the fight went on. It looked like he was slowing down, and the other guy was kind of getting in his groove. But he's fairly one-dimensional, the other guy he was fighting. And when Damir Hasdovich came up, and I saw how tough he is and how durable he is, you know, and he can get taken to the ground, but he's got pretty good takedown defense, and the guys who've taken him to the ground are pretty good. And I don't think that would be Oki, so it'd be a stand-up battle. And I ended up going with Oki because he's going to be a lot younger. Hasdovich hasn't been fighting for at least 2 years, got some surgery. I mean, I think Oki's going to be the hungrier guy. But then when Timothy Kuamba came in, I thought, because I was looking for a reason not to bet on Oki. And I looked at Timothy Kuamba. I think he had a pretty good fight against Vogel. He seems like he's got a ground game. I think he's got a better ground game than Oki. He can take a really good punch. I think he fades as the fight goes on. In the third round against the Vogel fight, he was definitely losing that fight. But I think Oki fades as well. Both of them are very powerful punchers. You know, I was just looking for a reason to fade Oki, so I'm going to fade him on this one. I think Kuamba wasn't signed by the UFC, even though he won the Vogel fight. It was kind of, you know, a controversial decision. Kuamba had won the first round, you know, rocked Vogel, and yeah, got some really good strikes off. Second round was really close, kind of up in the air. And the third round, he lost because he was taken to the ground. But the guy who took him to the ground, Vogel, is a very tough, durable Canadian fighter. I've seen him fight before, and he's done that to many guys who've rocked him and almost put him out and come back and submitted him and won him. So he's legit. So I'm going to go with Kuamba on this. He is the underdog. The odds just came out today. He's a younger fighter. He fought 8 days ago, which I was worried about. I hope he's not hurt or anything, which is the only thing I would worry about. It's going to be a really good fight. I'm actually looking forward to seeing this fight. This is going to be a big war. Young guys, they're going to go put it all out there. It's going to be a tough battle. I think if Kuamba can throw in a couple of takedowns, I think he can finish this. Both of them are powerful strikers. Oki does have a really good body shot. Kuamba has got a high IQ as far as striking. He's very smart in there. And I think both of them are going to fade into the third round. So we'll see what happens. Timothy Kuamba is going to be the pick. Moving on. Trevin Giles versus Carlos Pratis. Trevin Giles, 6 feet tall, 74-inch reach, 16 wins, 5 losses, 31 years old. Carlos Pratis, 6'1", 78-inch reach, 17 wins, 6 losses, 30 years old. Same age. They're about the same height. Pratis always looks way taller in all his fights. Now, either he's 6'2", and all the other guys, whenever they come in at 5'11" or 5'10", which probably is the case. So he might be a little taller than 6'1". Maybe he's a 6'2" kind of guy. Same age as Giles. I mean, so he's a couple inches taller than Giles. Got a 4-inch reach advantage. You know, I mean, the last guy Trevin Giles fought with a reach advantage of about the same size, it was about 5 inches, was Morales. And I watched Carlos Pratis, and he even fought at lightweight. So he's not a big guy, but he's like a praying mantis, really tall, really long. He fights low though, you know, he's got a long kick. He's got really good kicks. He's got kicks to the body, kicks to the head. He's got really long legs. He's got a really good left hand jab and the right hand. I think it was left. Is he a lefty? Just trying to picture him. I think, yeah, I think he's a lefty. So he's got a right hand jab, left straight, and it comes pretty quick. And he's long, lanky, and it hits you when you're not expecting it because he's really long for the division. Now, everybody's going again with Pratis, but I don't know. Like, I think he's never fought this level of competition. I think I think he starts slow. The guy in the Contender Series was actually, it was fairly even until the last half of the fight where Pratis kind of put it on him. But the guy had a severe reach disadvantage. He's a lot shorter, like at least 6 or 7 inches less. And again, these guys aren't UFC level fighters. I bet against Trevin Giles last time. But you know what? In the Morales fight, if you look, Trevin Giles, right off the bat, slicker strike. He's a slick striker, great boxing, pretty good kicks, and he's really good he's underrated on the ground because I don't know who has submitted him, but he's fought against guys or high level guys, BJJ guys on the ground. I mean, granted, he did get submitted by Ismail. Was it Ismail? No, one of the Bonfim brothers. But he's a phenom on the ground as far as submitting goes. But overall, Trevin Giles got a pretty good ground game. He can take you down. And Carlos Pratis, he has been taken down. He hasn't necessarily been controlled, but I don't think he's fought a ground guy at the level of Trevin Giles. And I think his ground game's very underrated. So I think there's a world where Trevin Giles can take Pratis down and win some time on the ground. I don't know if he's going to submit him, but I think he's going to be able to win rounds. And I think Pratis is really dangerous. I think Giles has a questionable chin. I don't think he's chinny. He takes okay shots. He could take good shots, but he can't take really hard shots. And generally he doesn't get outright KO'd, but he does get hurt. So Pratis seems like he's fairly durable, probably more durable. I mean, I like Giles in this spot. He's a huge underdog. I mean, people are sleeping on this guy. This guy's got really good striking. He could get in on. He's a good counter striker. He slips punches really well. Pratis does have a really long reach. Giles can get in there beyond that, and land. I mean, he did it against Morales, and Morales somehow stayed up and absorbed the shot. And then as you saw Morales in the other fights, you realize this guy is hard to knock him out. Like, it's almost impossible to knock him out. This guy can take a shot. He's very strong. Giles hurt him really bad, and he recovered. And he ended up finishing Giles in kind of a crazy exchange where Giles got caught when he was throwing a punch. He got caught on the inside, and then eventually Giles, was beaten down. But Giles, tried to recover and everything else. And yeah, I mean, I just like the way Giles looks in this fight, especially if he's going to come in at a plus 220 underdog compared to Pratis. And again, going back to, this is a debut fight for this guy in the biggest promotion, and he's fighting a guy who's a pretty good fighter. And he's also, I think, even though he's taller, I think he's going to be the smaller guy. Or roughly the same size. I'm just saying this because he moved up from 155, where Trevin Giles actually moved down from middleweight. So Trevin Giles is going to be the pick. That's not popular. Everyone's going with Pratis. Like, everyone's going with Pratis. So, I mean, either I'm going to look like a genius or I'm going to look, well, like I did last week, I guess. So it can't get any worse. So yeah, Giles is going to be the pick. I think he's got slick boxing. He can get to Pratis. I think he's going to surprise him. They're both quick. Yeah, and the ground game, I think Giles can do something on the ground and steal some rounds. As long as he doesn't get knocked out. That's the thing. As long as Giles doesn't get knocked out. His chin is what I'm worried about. Be getting cracked. Right? That's what I'm worried about. But it could happen. But like I said, he could take a good shot, but he can't take a really super hard shot. And Prentice looks like a finisher, so I mean, I'd be worried about that. Moving on to the main card. Rodolfo Vieira versus Armen Petrosyan. Rodolfo Vieira, 6 feet tall, 73-inch reach, 9 wins, 2 losses, 34 years old. Armen Petrosyan, 6'3", 71-inch reach, 9 wins, 2 losses, 33 years old. This is a rebook fight. I remember having this as a super low confidence pick, you know, and again, super low confidence again. I mean, this thing can go any which way. It's going to be grindy. It's going to be greasy. It's going to be close. It's going to be apart from like some kind of finish from Vieira, it's going to be a decision, and it's going to be how many times can Petrosyan stuff Vieira, because the striking is going to go to Petrosyan. He's a good striker. He's got high volume. He's got great kicks. He's got a high fight IQ. You won't get up ahead of him on the strikes. He's always returning. He's very smart. He doesn't let you get ahead. Vieira, on the other hand, has improved the striking. He's actually very powerful. And his jab, surprisingly, is really good. Like, I just saw him bust up a whole bunch of guys with his jab. And I mean, it doesn't look anything special. But he's got long arms. He's going to have the reach advantage here, even though he's a shorter fighter. But he's got long arms, and it seems to come in, I don't know if it's an awkward speed, but it doesn't seem that fast, but he keeps landing it on everybody. So, I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. Like, I mean, it's a good jab because it's landing, but it doesn't look like a good jab. So we'll see if Petrosyan can avoid that and land his own jab. But Vieira's really good on the ground as far as when he gets you back, but he has a hard time getting people to the ground. Petrosyan has got a pretty good takedown defense. He hasn't got a good up game, and everyone's complaining that he gives up his back to get up. And Vieira is a good back taker, kind of choker kind of guy. But it's been working for Petrosyan so far, and they keep saying Vieira's the black belt hunter. But I don't know, man. I don't see him being that devastating. I've seen him on the ground. I see Fluffy Hernandez, submit him. So I know, granted, he had a questionable gas tank, and he's really worked on that. Now it looks like it's better. But he's such a big guy, very muscular. Like, he's always going to have issues with his gas tank. He's got to pace himself. But he does push through it, but it does affect him. Went back and forth. I remember originally picking Petrosyan, going to Vieira. You know what? I'm going to go with Petrosyan. It's not in Brazil this time. It's going to be greasy. It's going to be close. It's my least confident pick. This thing can go any which way. And Petrosyan was the underdog. I placed a bet when he was an underdog. I think now it's like virtually a pick 'em. But Petrosyan's going to be the pick. I think he's going to be able to squeeze it out. I think he's going to outpoint Vieira. I think Vieira's not going to be able to take him to the ground. And if he does, I think he can get up once or twice. But Vieira's going to have a hard time with him. As the fight goes on, it's going to get harder and harder. Petrosyan's going to get sweatier. It's going to get more slippery to hold on to. And yeah, I'm going to go with Petrosyan. Plus, if you hear the backstory, they were supposed to fight in Brazil, and then Petrosyan got sick, and his whole team got sick, and his team claimed that somebody had tried to poison them or give him something for that fight. That's what the claim is. Now, to me, I'm looking at it like, okay, perfect. If somebody's that scared of Petrosyan, Vieira fighting Petrosyan, I mean, maybe they know something we don't know. I don't know. That's just what I heard, and to me, that's a good sign if somebody's scared of you. But that doesn't mean it's going to happen like as the fight is going to be lost by Vieira. But nevertheless, Petrosyan is going to be the pick. Really low confidence, coin flip fight. Moving on, Michael Johnson versus Darius Flowers. Michael Johnson, 5'10", 73-inch reach, 22 wins, 19 losses, 0 draws, 37 years old. Darius Flowers, 5'9", 71-inch reach, 12 wins, 6 losses, 1 draw, 29 years old. Huge difference in age. Michael Johnson is a good fighter. His chin might be going. He got a really bad knockout last time, but honestly, it was a really good shot. He's not chinny, but he can take some shots, and he's in the pocket, and he's always throwing. He's not scared to take a shot. I'm questioning if his chin is deteriorated a little bit, and you got Darius Flowers, who's a real power puncher. He's moving down from 170. He's a lot younger. Could take a lot of punishment. He's very powerful. He's going to be a little shorter in reach, but the age, he's a lot younger. I mean, he's just going to be a bull in there, right? And he's a good wrestler. That doesn't mean very much because Michael Johnson's got excellent takedown defense. That doesn't mean he can't get taken down, but he can get up. I mean, Flowers is going to be throwing bombs. And it's a matter of Michael Johnson's fought the better competition. He is the better guy in there. But he's a 22-19 fighter. He's the best 22-19 fighter out there. I don't even know why he's lost so many fights. But he manages to lose fights. But he wins them, loses them, wins them, loses them. He had a bad knockout. I'm counting on him coming back and winning this decision and not getting knocked out by Flowers and just outpointing Flowers. Flowers, I mean, I don't think he's that good. He's okay. You know, he's like the Wish version of what's his name? Wells. I think Wells is a better fighter, but they're similar. They're from the same cloth where they throw big punches and go for takedowns over and over again. I don't know if he can. If Flowers doesn't land this one shot, I mean, he doesn't win the fight. So Flowers by knockout, or he's gonna bust. He's gonna get jab from the outside. Johnson's gonna be the much better boxer. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Johnson. He is the underdog. Actually, no, he's the favorite. Slight favorite. 22-19 is worried. 37 years old, I'm worried. But they've definitely given him a guy they can beat. Darius Flowers is powerful, but he's nowhere near the fighter Michael Johnson used to be. Mind you, we'll see how far he's deteriorated. If he doesn't get caught, he should win this fight. Next fight, Brad Tavares versus Gregory Rodriguez. Brad Tavares, 6'1", 74-inch reach, 20 wins, 9 losses, 0 draws, 36 years old. Gregory Rodriguez, 6'3", 75-inch reach, 14 wins, 5 losses, 31 years old. Brad Tavares is at the tail end of his career. He's slowed down just a little bit. His chin might not be as good as it used to be because it was just made out of iron before. The guy could just take a shot and return. He's going to be 2 inches shorter, 1 inch short in reach advantage. He got knocked out really bad last time by Bruno. What's his name? Bruno Silva. And the fight maybe got stopped quick. And it's the first time you've ever seen him get knocked out like that. So, but Bruno Silva is a very big power puncher. So is it a one-off or just the start of his deterioration as far as his chin goes at 36 years old? That's probably part of it. But then look at it this way. Bruno Silva got KO'd really bad by Mearschart. And I remember betting on that fight. It was terrible. Like, he got KO'd by Mearschart. Like, badly. And then he came back and he seems all good. He's 31 years old, mind you. He's 33 years old, I think. Bruno Silva. So, and then he came back and he knocks out Tavares, which is, I bet against him because of what happened to him in the Mearschart fight. And this could be the similar case where Tavares did get KO'd by a strong, powerful guy. Could have been just a perfect shot, perfect scenario, perfect storm. And he can come back and his chin might not be 100%, but even if it's at 90%, he's a damn good chin. It's a much better chin than Rodriguez. So Rodriguez is the guy I'm more worried about as far as the chin issues. He could take a punch, and again, he's the kind of like Giles. He could take a good punch, but he can't take a really big punch. Tavares, on the other hand, is not a massive puncher, but he's a decent striker. So he might be able to knock out Rodriguez, but it's not normally his forte. He doesn't have that killer instinct where he goes after you once he hurts you. He kind of stays back and he fights a really smart fight till the end. But he's a hard guy to take down, and I think Rodriguez is going to have a hard time taking him down. And Rodriguez is a good guy is with his BJJ on the ground, but I think he's going to have a hard time taking Tavares down. And Rodriguez has been known to just forget his ground game and want to sit there and brawl. I think it could be a problem. I think Tavares can counter him. Tavares is a huge underdog in this. I don't understand why he's that big of an underdog I think there's a mistake here. I think people are counting Tavares out. I'm not saying that he can't lose. I'm not saying Rodriguez can't put pressure on him and have a slugfest and tag Tavares. But I think Tavares, if it's going to come down to being tagged, I think Rodriguez might be the more powerful striker, but his chin is weaker. And I think Tavares has got less powerful striking, but I think his chin is still better, even though it's not might not be 100%. Rodriguez is going to have a hard time taking him down. Yeah, man, for plus 200, plus 210, I mean, how can you not go with Tavares? I actually think Tavares can win this. But given huge odds like that, I mean, I think they're discounting him out. I don't think Rodriguez is that good. You know, I've seen him get finished before. I've seen him get KO'd before. So, granted, it's by a real big power puncher. But yeah, I mean, Brad Tavares might turn this around, I think. And at 36 years old, come out with a victory. So I'm going to pick Tavares. Knock on wood. It's another underdog. Huge underdog. Anyways, moving on. Robert Brejcek versus Ihor Potieria. Potieria.